Hi, I'm Sarah Gonzalez. Welcome to the news and why it matters. Glenn Beck is back with us. Yay! Your vacation was good?
My vacation was good. It was only interrupted by 2 insane funerals that I think I have to make. I'd like to make Kavanaugh the lead story of the day, but I know we'll get to that. So I'm going to speak my piece on the insane funerals of the weekend.
Let's do a top story.
All across America, people are being forced to light their shoes on fire.
Force.
We'll investigate.
Okay, go good. Pat.
The sissification of America is in full swing.
Okay.
So.
I can't imagine why you'd ever say that. We're going to get into all of that, but first we want to take a moment to thank our podcast and TV sponsor today, Nostalgia. So, of course, they have all of the wild rice products.
This is wild rice, not been tamed.
No, not tamed.
Free range.
Totally wild.
Free range, totally wild.
Don't know what's going to happen when you purchase it.
You don't know. So
Yes.
It's wild rice, and it's from edible. What is it?
The edible memories of the North Woods of Minnesota.
I've never eaten a memory.
Well, I mean, yes, you have, because you've had their wine jelly.
Beer jelly.
Beer jelly, I'm sorry. So I was in Fredericksburg this past weekend and did many wine tastings, and a lot of the little shops there had a bunch of different wine jellies, jams, stuff like that. Did not find any of them that came close to Nostalgia.
Really?
Yes, yeah. So
you're admitting here that you have a drinking problem. That's what I heard. Is that what you heard?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
She's
Okay.
forgetting
Obviously.
everything that happened.
I cannot confirm nor deny that.
The wild rice, though, helps to tame that. You put a little of that in your stomach, and then, you can...
You're good.
It does. But they've got plenty of amazing products. You can do the waffle mixes along with the wild rice. So go to blazewildrice.com right now, and you can get 10% off the sampler packs by using the promo code TRY10. All right, Glenn.
So I thought, and I hate to say this because I unplugged from the media, so I don't know what the politically correct position is supposed to be.
As if you've ever followed that.
You're right. I just don't know. I have no idea what's coming my way.
Okay.
The John McCain thing was... I think she had a right, Meghan McCain had a right to feel that way. I thought it was really sad that she said it at her father's. I mean, I would be pissed if I die and my children do that at my funeral. I'm going to be pissed.
What part of it?
Where she was kind of making a shot, at the orange man. I just thought it was.
I don't think she's the one that called him orange, though. Was that... who was it?
No,
that was at the Aretha.
The Aretha
funeral.
one was orange.
Yeah.
She just said
the Michael Eric Dyson.
He is a hero, which I completely agree with.
Yeah.
And I disagree with John McCain on a lot of stuff. And I understand her outrage. I just thought it was. I wouldn't want it at my funeral. Well, let's not be Paul Wellstone.
You wouldn't want your funeral politicized.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, Aretha Franklin's funeral was crazy. Crazy. Aretha Franklin, the only pastor that is in trouble is the one who spoke truth. You have Louis Farrakhan, who shouldn't be on the dais with anyone. I don't know if you saw the people on the left in their tweets defending Bill Clinton. Well, he didn't invite. No, he didn't invite. But I don't know about you. If I go to a funeral and Richard Spencer is on the dais, I say, I'm sorry, I'm not going up. I'm not sitting there with him.
No.
Right, okay? None of them had a problem sitting up with him, or they just didn't want to cause a problem. He's an anti-Semite racist who is trying to destroy America. You don't sit next to him, no matter whose funeral it is. But nobody had a problem with that. In fact, NBC delighted in the panoply of people there. Then you had the grope of Ariana Grande. Did you see that?
Yes.
Do you agree that was a grope?
Yes, absolutely. And I watched it, and I felt uncomfortable just watching it. Just being on stage in front of all of these people.
Unbelievable.
It made me feel disgusting. I felt like I needed a shower.
Did you feel that way about watching Bill Clinton watch her behind too?
Yes.
I mean, I didn't mean it that way, but watch her from the... Anyway.
That is where he was
Well,
watching.
I mean,
where he was watching.
both would apply.
Yes.
Yes.
So really disgusting. And then that preacher makes a Taco Bell joke, which would not be acceptable in any situation. But the guy who gets in trouble is the guy who says, let's talk about respect. Let's talk about what blacks are doing to the black community. And he starts saying, what was it, 3,700 blacks have been killed, 3,400 blacks have been killed in 86
I have a
years.
clip of that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Play it. Yeah.
If you choose to ask me today, do Black Lives matter? Let me answer like this. No, Black lives do not matter. Black lives will not matter. Black lives ought not matter. Black lives should not matter. Black lives must not matter until black people start respecting black lives and stop killing ourselves. Black lives can never matter.
That is truth.
So powerful.
So powerful. That is the most important thing I heard in 14 days, and it's the only thing that
they're mad about.
That they're mad about.
Yeah.
It's the power of truth.
Yeah, his number was 3,400 some blacks were killed by the KKK in an 86-year span of time. And he said, is that a lot? Yeah, you bet that's a lot of people. He said, but...
in the same 86 years.
Yeah, well, he started out with 3,400 people have been killed by black people in the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. So double that for the year and then multiply it by 86. What do you have? I mean, that's
591,000. And
wow.
It was so powerful. And he talked about fathers, where 70% of African American homes are without a father. Now, that doesn't mean that a mother can't raise her children. There's plenty of people that do that. But
single mom, I didn't take offense to that when I heard it.
My mom was a single mom.
There are some things as a mother you can't
show
anyone your son.
Anyone who has had both boys and girls know that raising them is wildly different. And I've had 3 girls and 1 son. And I will tell you, I felt like pretty much a worthless parent because I'm like guessing the whole time. When it's my son, I see him coming a million miles away. I know what he's thinking. I know where he's going. I know it. And my wife doesn't understand him like I don't understand the daughters, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I'm a man, he's a boy, she's girls, she's a woman. That's what he was saying, but that's not allowed to be said.
Yeah. You also take into consideration, just to kind of make it even more wild, that you can't even say that you're a man and she's a woman and they're girls because gender is fluid now, isn't it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not?
No, it's not.
Oh.
No. And if I may, just take just a second to divert. We started today on radio and on television all this fall, all the way through Christmas. We are just going to be hitting postmodernism and feminism and what it really is. It's all around my new book that's coming out in a couple of weeks. But I'm telling you, and even 2 weeks ago when I left, the writing staff was starting to get there. But coming back, they have written a lot of stuff, done a lot of research while I was gone. And they're all now saying the same thing. Oh my gosh, all of the doors are opening up. I understand what's happening. So please tell a friend, make sure you're watching the shows, listening to the podcast, because by Christmas time, you will understand why getting angry at these things is the worst thing we can do.
Yeah. I had 2 more quick things on the funeral before we leave this. One, when you have it seems like there's so much activism at these funerals. Like, it seems like everyone's got a political cause, or they're talking about, I think there's a great point made by the minister there about the black community. There were some really bad points, I thought, made by other speakers at these funerals. But isn't a funeral just supposed to be a celebration of life? Like, I don't know I don't like this development where everyone, if you're going to...
I hated it when it was Paul Wellstone.
Yeah, if you're going to create activism around any topic, probably at Aretha Franklin's funeral, it's pancreatic cancer, right? Like, that's probably the right target if you're going to, what all of this has to do with her life and her death. I don't understand. John McCain was more of a political figure, so maybe in some ways you'd understand that.
You could say, I think the one you could excuse, I think, is the last pastor that we heard, Aretha, because, Aretha's song, as we talked about on the radio today, she took that song. It was originally written for a man and sung by a man. And the respect was, I'm coming home after a hard day. I want a little something, something. Honey, treat me, give me a little respect, meaning sex. She took that song and flipped it upside down and made it real respect. So she was part of that civil rights movement that was empowering women, empowering black women. So you can kind of understand the one eulogy where he says, well, okay, let's talk about where we are now. With this, where we were with her, where are we now? Have we made progress? So you can kind of understand that.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made, especially if it's consistent with the way she lived her life. And I think that's. I just don't know. I don't know. There's certain things that belong in certain venues, and to me, political activism doesn't belong at a funeral.
I hated it.
I will say too, and this is a gentle pushback against the way we do things here in America. I'm a tad uncomfortable with the whole spectacle of the state funeral. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I like it for presidents. I don't think I like it for anybody. I mean, it's just a strange thing. And I think as a giant ceremony of praising someone's life, I know it's meant in a very respectful way, and I don't think there's any ill intent there. But it's weird. Like I think I really respect John McCain's military service. He did incredible things for this country. I was not a huge fan of him as a senator or presidential candidate. But if you just look at his military service, someone who would sacrifice like that deserves that. But so does Marcus Luttrell when he passes, and so does Chris Kyle, right? Like there's a lot of people, and I think we glorify this government service in a way that I'm not comfortable with fully.
Yeah,
I agree. I think presidents may be different, but I mean, look at the bright side. Look how far we've progressed. Try this. You know what the front living room used to be called? If you're my age, you might remember your parents or your grandparents used to call that not the formal living room.
Sitting room?
The parlor.
Room?
Yeah, the front parlor. As in parlor, funeral parlor. That room became the formal living room. It was the parlor, which is where you had all of the dead relatives would lay in state in that room.
Really?
Yes.
That is awkward.
That's creepy.
It's where you would have guests that would come into the house that were, visitors who were not family. You'd have them there, but also it was the parlor where you laid out the dead relative. So we've gotten much better.
We're going the right way.
We're going the right way. We throw one underneath the rotunda every once in a while. I'm okay with it.
Going back to needless outrage, people are burning their Nikes.
Yes.
Obviously.
Okay.
They're forced
to. There's nothing more American than burning footwear. I think we all can agree on that.
Better than burning books.
Yes.
I do think it's better than burning books.
It is, probably. We have some video of this.
Yes.
Why not?
Not only am I burning my favorite pair of Nikes, you are burning your sales. Have a good day.
No, interestingly,
Mic drop.
Yeah, they already got his money.
Yeah, they already have
They don't
your
really
money,
care about
dude.
that.
Like, I don't care.
Do what you want with them.
That you can buy as many pairs as you want and burn as many pairs as you want. Nike's going to be happy. Now, whether this is a good business decision for Nike, I think it was a terrible business decision for Nike because putting Colin Kaepernick as the face of an ad campaign is a stupid statement. He's not informed about these issues. He is anti-police. He is.
An anti-flag,
was very clear.
Anti-anthem.
He is like
He's the one who said so in the first place.
I think there are NFL players who have protested the anthem that actually mean it the way these activist organizations want you to think they mean it.
Yes.
There are some that have thought these issues out, and I disagree with them. But they're not calling Kaepernick. Kaepernick is the worst example of these players. He is absolutely the worst example of them. And for Nike to embrace him this way is a huge mistake, I think, for their business.
I thought that too until I heard from Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
Oh, really?
And found out that he is a big supporter of Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
Did you not know this?
Yes.
He
Tweeted his
out.
support.
His
Mahmoud
support for it.
Ahmadinejad tweeted.
By the way, he also informed us one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL when he was playing.
Wow.
Now he took out really important time from his day of stoning women who have gone outside without their husbands in order to make that point. I think it's really valid.
Mahmoud's been on the Twitters a lot lately.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
It's kind of a fun world development.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you might check yourself and go, I might be on the wrong side.
Yeah, if Mahmoud agrees with me,
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily rule it out.
No,
it's
but
a pretty good indication.
Now, the issue with Colin Kaepernick, if you look at the photo again, and he's kind of just like staring longingly at the camera, that's how he stared down receivers and why he sucked at being a quarterback. This is why he doesn't have a job. There are plenty of players. In fact, one of the best players on the Eagles was a guy who the Super Bowl champs, opposed the flag and protested it in a much more, I think, respectful way than Kaepernick did. But still, he didn't have a problem hanging on to his job because he's good. Beyond that, I think there's an issue with going back to the shoe burning, which is, at some point, you have to stop allowing a dope like Colin Kaepernick to run your life for you. Why is Colin Kaepernick, because of decisions he's making, changing your life in any way? If you enjoy watching football on Saturday or you enjoy wearing Nikes, you are allowing a person who you identify, I think correctly, as someone who doesn't know what they're talking about and is not a person you want to associate with. You're letting them make important decisions about your life. You're letting them schedule your Sundays. Why would you give them that power? Why would you give Nike that power? Why would you give anyone that power? So many times people say it like this. They say, I love the NFL, and now Nike is forcing me, and Colin Kaepernick is forcing me not to watch. No one's forcing you to do anything. Nike has no power over you. Colin Kaepernick has no power over you. And the NFL has no power over you. You should do what you choose and stop letting these political issues control large portions of your life.
Yeah.
The other side of that is, if you didn't stand up and say something to Nike, I don't think they would have lost $3 billion this morning in shareholder value. Mm-hmm. That's quite a hit.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
well deserved.
Yeah, and well deserved. But I don't want to be controlled by them. But I think people feel like they've been backed up against the wall, and they want these companies and these people to know.
Yeah, they want to show them how they feel.
I am not with you.
Really, we do have to take a break, but really quickly, I also think that if people were to actually do the research, they'd find that like 99% of these people are already giving their money to places that they don't agree with.
Yeah.
It's just not plastered all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
All right, back in a minute.
Something to be said for keeping your mouth shut sometimes.
Yes.
Not say that.
Before we get into the sissification of the country, I want to thank our other sponsor, Mercury Real Estate. Glenn, I know that you formed this company after buying a house.
After actually trying to sell a house. You remember, Pat remembers the nightmare of selling my house.
Yeah.
You sold your house, fine. I went with somebody who was a friend of a friend.
Right.
How do you know?
Yeah.
it was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. So we started this company, and we ran it for about, I don't know, a year or so without advertising. So we want to get everything right because we didn't want another experience like we had for other people. And so now we have, I think, 1,500 agents all across the country. They're the best of the best. And the letters we get in from people, these agents, they'll go over. I mean, one agent, I can't say they all do this. One agent went over and helped this woman. I think she had just gotten a divorce. She was moving and her house needed painting. So the agent went and painted it with her on a Saturday. I mean, it's like they're crazy good people. They know your market, they know what your house is worth, and they're going to sell it on time and for the most amount of money.
Yeah. And maybe a nice shoulder rub whenever you need it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do
they do that?
Me too.
Wow.
No.
Oh, okay. realestateagentsitrust.com. Go there now. All right, the sissification of our children.
Yeah, in Alabama, of all places, they just banned 7 games out on the playground because, they're far too dangerous. And I think I got to refer to my notes here for which ones these are. But the Alabama Department of Education has deemed these recess and gym activities inappropriate. They include, which is not something I played a lot at school, but steal the bacon. Steal the bacon.
Is that like a capture the flag situation?
Sort of. You put an item in the middle, and you have 2 teams that run up and grab it, and whoever gets back first.
If
wins.
that isn't
so inappropriate.
Steal the bacon.
So inappropriate.
Why is that inappropriate?
Well, because there are people who feel bad that they didn't get the bacon first, and then get back to their place.
And what about Jews? Jews and Muslims, are they happy about that?
I think they will be. Relay races. Now, successes are generally ignored, but failures are fodder for continuing ridicule, at least through the end of the school day. Musical chairs is banned because basically the same person wins the entire time. Everybody else feels completely alienated.
What?
And, they can't continue with their life after they've been alienated in a game of musical chairs.
Oh, no.
What do you expect from these kids?
No.
What? They're not,
That's the sort of, they're never going to see a heartbreak like that later in life.
Right.
There's never going to be anything that's going to measure up to that.
That would deal with the same kind of rejection as musical chairs.
No. When they go out looking for a spouse as a guy, standing in a bar, being, swipe left or right now, there's no rejection.
Compare.
There's no rejection.
They'll think back on musical chairs and they'll think that was a lot worse, so I can deal with it. Kickball. Sometimes there's major potential for embarrassment if the kicker misses the ball.
Yes.
That's true. Me every time.
Charlie Brown as well.
Who hasn't missed the ball at least once as a kid?
No, every time.
Almost everybody has.
Speak for yourselves.
Giants, elves, and wizards, also known as crows and cranes.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Well, now
you
it's a little Harry Potter-ish. I'm against that one because of the devils in it.
Now, according to the article, the rules take forever to explain, and even then, students are still confused. So we don't want the kids to be confused and just eliminate the game.
That is the most complicated thing they will deal with in their entire life, the rules of crows and cranes.
Well, other than musical chairs.
Yes, well, that's the most difficult and tragic one.
Duck, duck, goose.
That's
Anybody play duck, duck, goose?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the child slaughter from Duck, Duck, Goose.
Child slaughter?
It's got to stop. How many people have died playing a rousing game of Duck, Duck, Goose?
None have.
Well, yeah, not yet. But can you imagine the potential?
If we could save just one child,
It's worth it.
right?
And then, of course, this goes without saying, dodgeball. It's just,
we used to call that kick the ball in Glenn's face. That's what we used to do. So I just finished Jonathan Haidt's new book called The Coddling of the American Mind. You have to read it. Every parent has to read this because it talks about what's happening in our colleges and then winds it back. And it's from this.
Yeah. Well, how are they going to learn to deal with adversity or disappointment or embarrassment?
He puts it in such a great way. We are preparing the road for our children instead of our children for the road.
That's a good way to put it.
Right. Yeah. They cannot handle anything. This helicopter, everybody got a ribbon, everybody gets an award. That started in the 90s. 1995 is when they zero set this, and they look back. Those are the people that went to college in 2013. that's when all of this nonsense of I can't be offended, I can't handle it. He has an example. One student said that they could not handle the classes because their ideas that they held sacred and close and dear were being challenged. There's another school, I think it's Michigan, that is now handing out, if you go to the doctor and you're like, I miss my parents or whatever it is, if they think that you're at all kind of depressed or anything like that, you get a letter that says, if you're thinking about suicide, you are not to talk to any of your friends because this will be a major distraction in their life. This is your issue. You come to us and us only.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? It's crazy.
Jeez. Wow. All right. Back in a minute. I have an exclusive.
You do?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Exclusive Blaze secret.
What is it?
What is it?
Glenn is going on a book tour to
cool.
12 cities, and you can get exclusive pre-sale tickets before they get released to the general public. If you go to glennbeck.com/tour and use offer code TheBlaze, so you can grab those tickets. You get to see this guy over
It's
here.
actually going to be a funny. It's going to be a funny tour.
Yeah.
Really, really good tour. Different than anything we've done. I haven't been on tour in probably 6 to 8 years.
Into overtime next.
Yeah.